Hello, everyone. This is Robbie, and welcome to another episode of Miscellaneous Candor, frank, honest, and otherwise outspoken. Remember, follow, subscribe. Please leave us your reviews. We want to hear from you. I think actually soon we'll have an email address too that you can send us messages. So that should be really great. We'll definitely be able to hear from you directly. This week, we're talking about sports pretty in-depthly, actually. Having a discussion about AI and also, too, some interesting conversations from Steven. He actually dropped me a surprise. Imagine that. Anyway, sit back, enjoy the next episode, and as always, thanks for listening. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. This is Robbie from Miscellaneous Candor, frank, honest, and otherwise outspoken. Hope everybody's having a good week. Steven, are you there?
Good evening, my people. It is I, Stephen Kennedy, your board-certified, #1 board-certified atheist.
Okay, so if you're going to do that,
What?
you don't need to repeat board certified like multiple times.
I mean, I just, why are you always hating on my entry? Just appreciate me for this is who I am, and I want the world to know. Why are you always? I feel like you're always talking down to me because I'm not a believer.
Hey, cool it. I'm not. I just think it's funny to always
No, that's good. If you want to
give
make
you
fun of
a hard time.
atheists, so a person that
No,
believes
we're not
in
doing that. We're not doing that. We're not
imaginary
doing that.
powers taking care of them from above is going to make fun of the person that is grounded in reality. If you want to make fun of me, that's fine. I will be the bigger man.
I was just talking about your intro. So, did you listen to the podcast this week? What podcast did you listen to? Did you listen to any, Steven?
I did.
Oh my
I
God, audience, he did it!
I listened to the intolerable idiots, the implausible idiots. Hold on,
Brilliant
the
idiot.
brilliant idiots. Yes, yeah,
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this was with Andrew Schultz and Charlemagne.
yes.
Okay, so tell me before I go into all the podcasts I listened to, because I listened to so many this week. Tell me what you heard. Like, what did you like?
Well, what I really liked was their casual approach to all the topics.
Mm-hmm.
It's very non-aggressive the way I approach things. It's very casual discussion, but they get to the point. They make their points very casually and without being too aggressive.
Yeah, I
And at the
mean,
same time, it's very entertaining. It's
yeah, it is
it's like they're both.
entertaining.
It's fun listening to
Mm-hmm.
stupid people try to talk intelligently, and yet actually get their point across. So it's kind of like, wow, they actually maybe can think through things.
Well, hence the title, "Brilliant Idiots."
Yeah,
I like their connection. I like
yeah,
their conversation. I like the fact that they, even though they're kind of polar opposites on certain things that they have stands on, you can tell they really respect each other, and I like that, and that comes through.
yeah.
And sometimes it gets really too far in terms of
And
comedy and where they go from what they talk about. But
that was another point of contrast from us is that they have a mutual respect, which I feel like sometimes I don't get that. You're always making fun of me for being an atheist. You're making fun of my
oh
entry. I'm
god.
just saying it hurts my feelings. I have feelings too. Just because I'm an atheist, just because I don't believe in God, does not mean that I don't have feelings. You're not the only one that's got feelings, Robbie.
Okay, so there is no correlation between feelings and belief, but that's not the point. The
Right.
point is, I'm just happy you listen to a podcast.
Right.
Okay, so can I just tell you what I listen to, please, please, please? Okay, so I listened to Brilliant Idiots this week too. I also listened to this podcast called. I listened to a clip from Earn Your Leisure, which I haven't talked about in a while, but I used to listen to it all the time, and they were talking about the creator economy and I thought there was a really interesting point they were talking about how nowadays, because of just everybody can do content, there just is so much junk out there. And does there need to be more guardrails on like making really good content? And it's important to actually have good content. And then they started talking about this is a great part. Then they started talking about the um the music industry and how music is crappy now. In fact, that's why hip hop is so bad now. This is what they were saying
Mm.
on the show, and that, in the golden era, you could not like get on or be able to make music unless you had real talent. And you don't need to really have real talent anymore because the bar is so
Yeah.
low.
Yeah.
So I thought
Well,
that was super funny.
at the same time, you are democratizing the platform, right? All sorts of platforms, and I think that's the positive out of this is that it's not, you think about it, and a lot of the people back in the golden age that made it were not necessarily the most talented ones. They were just the most connected ones, right? Or they're just the lucky ones. And now everyone's got an even chance. It's really about what does the public find interesting or entertaining, and that's fair. Regardless of what, it's so subjective. You and I can think something is of little value, but other people may find it to be of great value.
Well, that was the other side of the conversation is that they were talking about, they were saying, I wouldn't say they were saying two things out of their side of their mouth because they were not, but what they were saying is that, it provides even now this democratization of a platform where everyone has ability to make music, to, make content, but then it becomes, well, what is good, right? And then it becomes the questions, well, who's going to decide that? Because isn't that the reason why things are so like democratized now? So it was a pretty good,
Yep.
interesting conversation from that perspective. They looked at both sides. Um, Obviously, I get what they're saying about there were people who were really really good back then in comparison to now, but then I hate to say his name, but then you have somebody like Diddy, right? Like when you have a closed system and you have somebody who's a hardcore
Yeah.
gatekeeper, I should say, then you have a situation like the Diddy situation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty interesting. By the
And
way,
if
did you
you
know that fool is trying to? It came out. Well, he's trying to get bail again, but I just have to say this: he is trying the word on the street is that he is trying to blackmail people from jail, like sending messages through other people, and that I don't know if this is true, but that there was phone calls. Everybody knows, even if you're not in jail, that if you are in jail and you make a phone call, that it's being recorded. So I don't know. Maybe he's just going through withdrawal from the drugs. But if that really happened, that is the dumbest thing
what
that
kind of blackmail are you talking about here?
like trying to threaten people from jail like he was doing when he was out in the streets.
Wow.
Remember he called that woman like 1,000 times or something to
Yeah.
try to tell
Yeah.
her, so doing the same type of thing, but
No.
while he's in the MDC.
Amazing.
Anyway, I don't want to waste more time on him until his trial comes up.
Well,
So,
back to your other point though, when
but
you had um the golden age, you had what was considered to be a very high quality television programming for that time period. For example, the Cosby Show, and it turned out Cosby was doing all sorts of horrible things, but no one cut him, no one outed him. Why? Because he was a big money maker. And now in today's world, that's not gonna happen very often because there's so much opportunity for everyone, and if you make it, you're going to be doing well, and if you screw up, they're going to cut you. because there's so many other people there right there that'll take your place.
Well, I said they were talking a little bit about that. They were also talking about how, and this creator economy, there's only like a certain amount of people that really are making a whole lot of money, and then everybody else is just kind of like, struggling. And that's why they were saying, like, is there, like, how can people make more money? Or is it because some people's stuff is just basically crap? Is it because um like you make the money via brands, but having 1,000 videos about boyfriend and girlfriend videos, I guess that's a new thing on TikTok or something. Like, what is that really going to do in terms of like what kind of longevity does that have, right?
Yeah,
That's just
yeah.
a phase, sort of.
It's a
So
phase and it's a money grab, right? You
yeah,
know,
exactly. But is it a money grab? That was the whole point. Like, is it a money grab, or is it just viral? Like, there are things that can be viral, but they're not necessarily
yeah.
money grabs. They were talking about that too. So I thought that was interesting. And yeah, I mean, everyone knows about. I mean, Cosby is there would be no Diddy without Cosby, right? Like all these people who were doing all this crazy stuff. That was the clearly when you look at Epstein, you look at Diddy, you look at Cosby, you look at Harvey Weinstein, you look at what's that woman, the woman who was
A
with
woman, wow.
Epstein. What was her name? The one who was with Epstein. She would like go out and
Oh
get
yeah,
kids.
uh,
Yeah, forgot
yeah,
her
I know
name.
what you're talking about.
But and I mean, and Diddy had a woman that was like that for him, and I'm sure Cosby did too. My whole point is that that was the environment, right? And so that was accepted, and so, but now I think because things have become much more democratized, people are willing to speak
Hmm.
and not necessarily think that, oh, okay, I have to do this in
Yeah.
order to get this.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I can do this on my own. So I don't need to do this because so it's a
Right.
different type of environment, which I thought was interesting. Um, I also too saw or just listened to this podcast. It only comes out like once a month, I've discovered. It's called Pondering AI. And they were talking about replicas, like again, mental health around AI. There was a woman who was on there who's a psychologist. She was pretty interesting, but also too a little I don't know, quirky to say the least. But she was talking about I have to look up her name. Just this whole replica thing, which I didn't even know was a thing.
What?
Um it's like it's the whole AI girlfriend boyfriend thing. Like you have a
What is
replica person, and sometimes
a
you have
replica of a real person?
it's like yeah, of a person, but it's an AI, like, but they call them replicas, and you can wear them around your neck and talk to them,
So,
and
are you
they
saying
talk
you
to you
take
like
someone you know and replicate their their
no,
personality, their voice, or oh, it's
that's
just
not
a replica of a female. Okay.
yes, that's how I understood it. But there maybe you could do that. But the whole point is that she was saying that these replicas, causing that suicide, it's increasing things. It's really dumbing down people's ability to socialize because the problem with these replicas that they call them is that they agree with you on everything. It's like having a human but it's a dog. That's how I took it. You know how your pet will do anything and sometimes you get mad at your pet but your pet still loves you and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like that, but a human, but it's AI.
So
But humans aren't like that.
this is in wide use by people are using it.
Evidently, in certain countries, in the continent of Asia, it is in tremendous use.
Interesting.
Yes, which I thought was really interesting. I will make sure when I reference Pondering AI as a webcast that I actually link to the actual show so people can listen to it if they want to. But
You know, it's interesting because I think in I think it's Japan,
mhm.
where being a friend for hire is a huge business. It's
Yes, it's pretty large in Japan, she said,
That's
specifically. She
incredible.
called out Japan, yep. Mhm.
That's incredible. I've thought about selling myself in the U.S. Friend for hire, because I'm so fantastic. I can't see why, um, you know, I wouldn't make a lot of money off of that. I'd be a great friend. Hello? Did I lose Robbie?
I'm just kidding. I was being funny on purpose. Okay, so no, you would be a good friend. I just the whole idea about all of that
I don't know.
just
I think I'd rather be the kind of friend that talks shit to you and talks down to you. That's the kind of friend that I would want to be. If you want to hire me
see,
to
I don't
sit
think they
and
could handle
tell
that
you what
though.
a bitch you are, you can hire me and I will be happy to talk down to you and tell you how pathetic you are.
Okay, but see, I feel like that's a different type of relationship. That's not a friend relationship. That's a whole
Oh,
another
well,
area,
you know
right?
what?
Where
That's the business idea right there. That's a
oh,
business. I've got it. I've got it.
oh my god.
We're gonna take that offline, and I think I've got something here.
Okay, you got that on your own, buddy. I am not rolling with you with that. I am not. I'm not. Um anyway, I thought that was, and then they were talking about just this whole idea of even bringing the replica with you on a date, and so it's like your date, and then this chat bot that's around your neck, like as a necklace that you can talk to, and it can talk out. I just thought
So
that was
you're just going on a date by yourself, but you're pretending someone's with you. Is that
no, someone's actually with you, but you also have the chat bot around your neck,
so?
and it's
What is the person that's with you doing while you're chatting with your bot?
you're supposed to be, well, they're supposed to know the bot too. It's like all three of you were out, technically.
This is really wacky, and I can't wrap
Exactly.
my head around it.
Ex- eh, as I said, I will definitely post the specific episode when I mention and reference the title of the podcast. And then okay, so let's switch from the AI thing, unless there was something else you want to mention around AI. No. Yeah. No.
Yeah, no, no. Well,
No.
then,
Okay.
no, we can move off. We can talk about it
And
later.
hold
We
on.
got
We
plenty of
talked
time.
about okay.
Plenty of
All right.
episodes to
So let's talk about the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight.
go. I say, you know, number one, why is his butt cheeks so flabby? You know what I'm talking about? You saw his butt cheeks.
Who? Oh, Mike
You missed
Tyson
you
when
missed
he
that part.
was
Why why did we have to see that? Actually, number one,
okay, I didn't want to see that.
why was
I
that
didn't want
necessary?
I don't know why it was necessary. I mean, I guess before in the past we'd seen his booty. I don't know. But I was not interested in seeing a 60-year-old man's booty cheeks waving in my face, on
Flapping.
national
It was
TV.
flapping. Uh,
But he's almost 60
I
years
just thought
old.
Mike Tyson's butt cheeks would be a lot more muscular, robust. But this is like a
He's
lot of
almost 60 years old,
it's
Steven.
Mike Tyson though, you know. Look
I
at him.
know, but okay. Okay. The man is still he looked like he was 58 when he was in that ring a few times. I mean, when they were
Yeah, it was
zooming,
all because he was supposed to look old and tired. That's why.
what do you mean he was supposed to look
The whole
old?
thing, it was so fake. It might as well have been WWE. It was
That's
so
how you
fake.
thought? You thought
It was so fake. Oh man, Tyson could have destroyed the guy, but he just stood back and pretended he couldn't move his legs. His legs were hurting. He was tired. And then the interview at the end, where he's like, "Oh, I'm just, I lost him. I'm old and tired. I couldn't do it. I thought I could do it." No, this guy could have killed Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a pussy boy. All right, he couldn't destroy
so?
Tyson. I mean, it's just no, not even possible.
I just didn't know this about Jake Paul. I found out recently that he's never fought anyone who was his own age and weight class. That his thing is like to fight old, washed up people. Is
Oh,
this
really?
true?
I don't know
I'm
if it's the things that
confirmed. You
I
know?
what I do know is that he is not able to get a legit fight because he's not a legit fighter, but he's a YouTube sensation and he's trying to become legit.
Wait,
And
wait, 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 wait. Okay, okay, wait, 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 wait. He's not a real fighter? I didn't know
no,
this. I thought he
it's
was like
a clown.
a legit fighter. He's not?
No, no, he's a clown. He's made his
He's
millions
a
after being a
clown?
YouTube sensation, and now he's been trying to get into fighting, and he's trying to get into get serious fights lined up, but none of the serious fighters want to fight him because he's a joke. Why are they going to make themselves look bad by getting in the ring with this clown that has no, he's not a legit fighter? It makes them look bad. So he's trying to build up his legitimacy by fighting a 60-year-old number one boxer from the 90s and 80s.
Okay, so you said he's just a YouTuber?
That's how he originally started. He was a YouTube star. He became a big YouTube star, made millions off of that.
So he's a YouTube podcaster
Yep.
who turned into a fighter?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only because he fought someone else, didn't he fight like not Lennox Lewis, but somebody else. He fought someone else too,
Did
who
he,
like a
another?
washed up
Oh
person. I
boy,
can't.
I don't know.
You have to look it up. You have to look it up. I can't look it up on my phone because I had something else I
Hold on
wanted to
one
play.
second.
Feed. So yeah, look it up and see. But I didn't realize that. See, I thought this is how like naive I was. I was just hyped because it was Mike Tyson, and I was hyped because it was going to be on Netflix. I was like,
Right.
"Wow,
Right.
hey, everybody can watch this. This is going to be good." Who's this Jake Paul guy? I'm thinking he's so smart as a fighter to do this. I'm thinking he's like a legit fighter,
No.
and now
No.
you're
He's a
telling me he's just
clown.
some YouTube clown.
He's a clown. And I
I got it.
he's really really dumb. I mean, you got to listen to him talk. He's dumb.
Okay, I can't
He
speak to his
was
stupid.
also on a Disney show a while back.
He
Uh,
was.
oh yeah,
How do you know all of this about Jake Paul?
because he's just all over. He's very very popular right now. So he's just been around for a while. So I'm familiar with him.
Okay, well, that's a whole nother thing. All right, so the other thing I wanted to are we done talking about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson? Have you gotten all out?
Uh, no, I actually had you got luckily luck, luckily it was on Netflix. So for all Netflix subscribers, it was free to watch, which caused there were thousands and thousands of people tuning in, so it kept on having a buffering issue. But my point is, it's a good thing they weren't charging people to watch this fight because uh, so many people are waiting for a while to watch this fight, and it turned out just to be a hoax. It was just a fake. You don't. That's just duping the public. To get viewers. It's pretty pathetic. I think. Like especially Mike Tyson got a $20 million payday for ten
Yeah,
for
I
10
saw
rounds
that.
for 20 minutes in the ring. He got 20 mil. Okay, he was
Mhm.
$1 million
Dollars
a
a
minute,
minute.
and
Mhm.
Jake Paul got 40 million.
Yep.
So these guys, on one hand, I can't blame Tyson for saying 20 mil a minute to lose a match. I don't care. I'll take it. I can't. That's ridiculous amounts of money. Um,
Mhm.
so, but at the same time, why do this? Why put on a fake fight and disrespect the public that are interested in watching you fight, that actually have a genuine interest in watching you in the ring?
You're so sure that they were disrespecting the public.
Absolutely. And that was the end result. That was the result of what they were doing. It was a money making. It was a money making program. It wasn't about being respectful to the public. They didn't really care about the public. They didn't care that they're duping the public. They didn't care that they're wasting people's time. Do you think I would have spent time watching this if I knew it was going to be fake? No, I've got better things to do with my time. I thought I was going to see Mike Tyson in an actual fight, and I want to see him pound this clown.
Okay, well, I mean, I thought it was entertaining overall. Um,
So you thought it was legit. You thought that.
I thought it was 50-50. If I'm being like, yeah, 50-50. Like I did think that there were a couple times where they actually hit each other, but I do think there was some sort of gentleman's agreement about
Yeah,
not going
yeah.
too far. Um, and I also too feel like though everybody just wanted to see it like in person and see it go down, and because it was on Netflix, it was a community event. I feel like who was the winner was Netflix
Netflix. Yeah, yeah.
because they literally now have changed the game when it comes to fights. Like they can just have any fights on now, right? And they're going to get a bunch of money from all the subscription fees. They're going to get they can pay these purses, and the viewership is just going to be so much more than when you have to pay to see some of these things. So
Hmm.
I feel like they came out on top. Like they're the winner. They're the winner was Netflix.
Yeah, and before the fight, there was a leak that there was a script for the fight, and Tyson was supposed to lose. Uh, Now the details of the script that came out were not exactly what happened, but he did in fact lose.
Okay, we can talk about that later. But I do want to play this clip though. It's from my wonderful podcast, Reasonably Shady.
Oh boy.
Let's talk about Bronny.
I don't know that I want to talk about that.
I do.
Oh God.
Because you know what I liked?
What?
I like the fact that Barkley, Shaquille,
Mm-hmm.
they're being honest.
Yeah, they kept it real.
They kept it so real.
Yeah.
And they're like, he don't belong in the league.
Yeah, they're right. Yeah.
Of course they're right.
Yes.
And no shade to Bronny,
Yeah.
but shade to LeBron.
Yes.
And the shade, and as a
I agree.
parent, I would say, do not put that kind of, why did you put that kind of pressure on your child?
I know. So
Okay, so they're talking about
That's actually there's they make
what do
a
you
point.
what do you feel about that? What do you feel about that statement? What they were talking about,
I
Giselle and Robin.
I look, I agree. Why you think about how much pressure there had to be put on that kid to go pro. Um, you got to think about this. All of these kids that end up going pro, they don't have a normal life, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
same thing with kids that go into the Olympics, right? Um, they don't live a normal life of a normal child. It literally takes away from being human. And when you put that pressure on your kid to and I think that in order to get to that point of going pro, there has to be a lot of guidance and a lot of pressure from the parents to make that happen. And so I don't think that I would never encourage my child to go pro because I know what it destroys your childhood.
Well, I think it's interesting that they said, that Shaq Barkley, all the people are being real that he doesn't belong in the league. He's just not that good, right? And that LeBron wanted this. And they talk a little bit more. I didn't play the whole clip. But what they did say, which I thought was interesting, I probably should have played this part, is they believe that if it was Michael Jordan, he wouldn't have done that. He would have said, "You got to be good. Like I'm not going to just you're not going to get into the league because I want to play with you as my son. You're going to get into the league because you worked hard and you deserve to be in the league." And I can see that because that's just how he is. They always talk about how much of an asshole Jordan is, but he also too is so much about like,
So you're saying that LeBron got him in even though he wasn't good enough.
yeah, that's what they're saying. That's what they're
Oh,
saying
okay.
that
All right.
Shaq and Barkley or Charles Barkley think they're being honest about the fact that he should not be in the league and that he's not that good. And they talk about it a lot longer. I didn't play like longer parts of the clip, but they talk about how he doesn't really know the game. He's struggling. That he's pretty much in there because of his dad. And there's the other side that says, well, people do that all the time, right? And so if LeBron has the opportunity to do that, why can't he do that? But the other side of it is you're not that good. You don't really deserve that. And what are you doing to your kid by putting him in a position where he really doesn't deserve it? And what does it say for all those
Right.
people whose spot is on the team? And when he goes out there to play, he's going out there to play because he's LeBron's son versus somebody who really has been what you were saying
Right. Right.
all their life to try to get there. They got there and they can't go on because Bronny's on the court.
Right. Right. I agree. I agree absolutely.
I, I just thought that was interesting conversation. I
You
just
think
hmm?
you think about sports or acting. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, there's nepotism across, all professions." And so It's the same as any other profession. It's not a big deal. It happens everywhere. The difference is that there's a lot less opportunity and a lot more money involved when it comes to sports or acting, and it because is so less of an opportunity compared to other professions, it becomes a very unfair advantage.
I agree with that. And I also too think they were talking about this too. And I also too think it's because you're on this big stage too with like sports and acting and other things versus if you're in a business, right? Like if you're in a business and you bring your son into the business or your daughter into the business, yeah, the people in the company are gonna know, but it's not like the world is gonna know.
Yeah.
When you are playing in the NBA, millions and millions of people are watching you. And also too, sports, and I don't know about acting, but sports is one of those last areas where people feel like they're actually watching something where people are there because they are the best,
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that you're not really the best, but you just are your son's your son. I mean, your father plays on the team, so you got a spot. I mean, it's just like there's so many different dynamics to it. But on the other end, I
But
can see
how
why LeBron is like, oh, Steven, we lost you. Okay, people, we're gonna wait see if Steven comes back. Up there's Steven. Okay, you're back. You're back.
But how legit do you think that claim is? Because there are a lot of basketball players, football, baseball players that would love for their child to be playing, but they don't make it.
Exactly. And that's my thing. I feel like because LeBron has so much pull on the team, in the league, right? He's like one of the only, if not the only billionaire NBA player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's just like a different type of pull.
That's true.
And I can see from his perspective, and also too given the background that he came from, that he's like, oh no, I'm going like all in, 10 tones down. I don't care. I want my son to play with me. Guess what? My son is planning to play with me. And that's like been something I want. So I mean, I can see both sides, but I veer towards, dude, he's not good enough to be in the league. I know what you wanted, but that's what you want. That's not necessarily what's best for him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my opinion. I mean, I'm not, I'm not his mom, I'm not his dad. So, and I definitely try to stay away from telling people how to raise their kids, but this is an opinion show, so I'm gonna give my opinion. All right, we're at 31. I know we're gonna try to keep this one short today, but is there anything else you want to talk about?
I have so much to talk about, Robbie, but I will hold off till our next episode because
Okay.
I just to and we can continue this discussion later, but I just want to tell, and this is a lead into a topic I wanted to talk about, but we'll talk about it next time. I just wanted to tell all the fat asses out there to stop eating shitty food and take care of your health. All right. And this is about an AI topic that I want to talk about.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this. It's just ironic that you said that,
Why?
and then your last name is Kennedy, and that's all I'm gonna say. All right. So, thank you, everyone. We're going to end on that note. Have a wonderful week. Bye. Say
Thanks.
bye, Stephen.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.